Welcome back. Coronavirus relief compromise. The House Problem Solvers Caucus offering a bipartisan stimulus deal worth $1.5 trillion, including another round of checks, an unemployment boost, and money for the Paycheck Protection Program. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows saying that it could provide a, quote, real opening for further discussions. House Democrats, though, shut it down, digging in their heels on a plan with a $2.2 trillion price tag. Joining me right now is former acting White House Chief of Staff, former OMB Director Mick Mulvaney. Mick, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here.
Morning, Maria.
Look, whether it's the problem solvers or any other version of another stimulus plan, it doesn't appear that real negotiations are really going on right now. Is this just dead in the water right now?
Well, I think you're right to say that those negotiations are not going on right now. That's not to say that this could not move very, very quickly in the next couple of weeks. Keep in mind the pressure is simply building on leadership in both the House and the Senate. The folks who are most at risk for getting blamed for not having a stimulus package would be the Democrats in the House and the Republicans in the Senate. All of the House is running for re-election. Much of the Senate is running for re-election. So the pressure will continue to build on the leadership to try and get something out the door. And with the government needing to be funded by the end of September, there will be a necessary carrier bill that must get passed between now and the election. So I think it's right to say that things have gone very slowly. There's a chance that something doesn't pass, but I do think the pressure is building to get something done.
I mean, do you feel that it's needed? You have been among those who have been prudent in terms of spending. You have one eye on the debt all the time. Do you believe at this moment in time something is needed?
No, I don't. And I think there's probably a growing group of lawmakers in Washington who are starting to accept that. The retail numbers are good. Job numbers are getting better. Things are, looks like we're turning out of the depths of this recession. So, no, I don't think it's necessary, but that's never been the metric in Washington, D.C. If you think you have to pass something in order to get reelected, lawmakers love keeping their jobs. The pressure is going to be on them, again, Democrats in the House, Republicans in the Senate, to pass something so that they can go back and run on that between now and November. So, no, I think your gut instinct is correct. The economics don't mandate it. The politics, however, might.
Meanwhile, Kevin McCarthy, GOP leader, coming out with a commitment to America yesterday, fighting to take back the House to try to indicate where the Democrats have been. You know, he says they orchestrated the most baseless, rushed, and partisan impeachment in U.S. history. Meanwhile, the GOP is trying to triple the amount of COVID-19 testing. They've got a promise to Americans should they actually get the control of the House again. 3 specific objectives: restore our way of life, rebuild the greatest economy in history, and renew the American dream. What do you think it's going to take for the Republicans to take back the majority in the House this November?
The sort of turnout that we had in 2016. I'll never forget the morning of that election when a friend of mine from Pennsylvania called at about 9 o'clock in the morning and said, Donald Trump is going to be president. And we all said, why is that? He said, because I just voted in my precinct and I was number 1,150. And we said, so what? He said, well, 4 years ago, only 800 people voted all day. Donald Trump can drive a turnout the likes of which we've not seen in modern politics before. That's what it's going to take. I just got back from Pennsylvania. I was in Pittsburgh over the weekend. The groundswell is there. The support is there for the president. Whether or not that translates to voting on Election Day will be the make it or break it for the Republicans in both the House and the Senate.
Do you think, though, that the plans, the policies are resonating? Why are you getting that turnout? Do you think people understand that you're seeing the Republicans try to come out with solutions and you've got the critics of the president sort of wanting to sow more chaos?
You and I talked about this a couple of weeks back, which is what would the election be? Would the election be Trump versus Trump? Would it be a referendum on the president, or would it be Trump versus Biden? And I think the Trump campaign, has done a decent job in the last 4 or 5 weeks going after Biden to try and make it a binary choice. People forget that you don't get to pick your ideal candidate when it comes to any election. It's usually down to 2 and maybe sometimes 3 people. And I think the campaign has done a decent job of that. If they can continue the momentum that they seem to have built in the last couple of weeks, I think it carries them through, gives you a lot of coverage in the Senate. The House is going to be tough, but the opportunity still exists.
All right, Mick, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.